So Vevor reached out to me about doing a review on some of their tools. They offered me this ultrasonic cleaner and I accepted it. I'm not sure how I feel about doing tool reviews yet on this channel, but I had a need to clean up all this hardware for my skid steer. Now, I did tell them that I was not going to be biased and that I'd tell the truth about this machine because your guys' viewership is more important to me, and they were okay with that. So we're going to take a look at this thing. I unboxed it. It came in 2 days. I'm in Missouri. It shipped out of Illinois. Looks like they got a headquarters or U.S. headquarters in Rancho Cucamonga, California. The lid, you know, it's thin, but it's adequate. And the hardware pan, it's adequate as well. I can't really see anything wrong with it. Show you the inside. So you can kind of get an idea how deep it is with my hand. It's got a digital display in the front. And then it's like a computer monitor style power cord with a switch, and it looks like the heating element's 450 watts, the ultrasonic part's 360 watts. We're gonna fill this up, get this hardware is cruddy. And I hate parts washing by hand, all of this hardware. I'm going to be using this simple green. This is a concentrate. It says for heavily rusted items, use a 1:10 ratio. Now, I believe this holds about 10 liters, even though they call it a 15-liter container. So we're going to figure out how much to put in there, and we'll bring you back. Okay, 1 quart is about 1 liter is about 1 quart, and we're going to call it close enough. So I'm going to put 1 quart of simple green in it. Now 9 more quarts of water. All right, there's 7 cups of water with 1 cup of solution. You can see it still holds 2 more cups, but I really don't think I need it any more than that for what I'm doing. It does show a little no on here for being empty when it's on. But I think that should be enough for what I'm doing here without causing any problems. I'm going to go ahead and pack up all my bolts in this bin. A good before picture. Super greasy. Okay, on the back side, this has single power. You can hear the fan kick on. And okay, so run the temp. What's the max? I think it was 80. Yep. It says 23C is actual. Let's see what this says. "73 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know how that works out. I'll have to do the math. We're going to go ahead and turn the heat on. That lit up. And it is, let's see, I'm going to see what time it is, and I'll check back what the temperature increase is after 15 minutes. While we wait on that thing to warm up, I'm going to show you some of the stuff I'm not really planning on recording on the skid steer. It's just not entertaining, but all these little gouges, I'm just giving them a skim coat I'm not great at Bondo. I usually put way too much on. This is where we did that dent repair, and I'm just mainly going to skim coat that. I'm not trying to fill it in or anything. And I'll do this side. But really that's kind of what I'm working on, just prepping this thing for paint. It's really not exciting, so not showing a whole bunch of it. All right, it's been 15 minutes, and let's see. So it's showing about 100 degrees, so almost 30-degree temp rise. It says it's only 33 C, which I don't think that's up that high of temperature, but I wish we could change that to Fahrenheit, but I don't see any way to do it. You can actually see the little heating elements making some swirls in the solution. So that's kind of neat. But anyway, I think that's warm enough to get started. I'm going to take our thing of bolts and set in there. And we'll set this to, let's just do 15 minutes at first. That almost sounds like a buzzy, hissy noise. So I'll bring you back after 15 minutes and we'll take a look. Okay, it's been 15 minutes. Let's see where we're at on temperature. 125 degrees. It's definitely greasy looking. Let's get that pulled out and take a look. Well, it's obviously is cleaned the surfaces of a lot of these. Some of the really thick crud is still on there, which that doesn't surprise me at all. But let's go for another 30 minutes. Well, let's do 30 minutes this time. I mean, it's obvious it's cleaned it. But let's give it some more chance to work on some of this stuff. It's like 30 minutes is the max. Okay, it's been 30 extra minutes. It actually sounds, I don't know if you guys can hear that. It almost sounds like it's boiling in there. I mean, $175 degrees, so it shouldn't be boiling. It sure sounds like it. All right, turn this thing off. Well, So I'd say they're about 90% clean. Really the only thing that it didn't clean was the really caked on grease in the threads, which, you know, I didn't even spend time even wiping it off with even like the, you know, a rag wiping the main gunk of it off the threads. I literally just threw it in there. The rest of this stuff is, I mean, it's clean. You can even see the bolt heads. See, like that real heavy grease that was on there. So what am I really going to use this on other than bolts on this project of mine? Well, my actual main use other than the bolts are going to be the drive chains, because I had them full of grinding dust and just general shop debris. So I think this is going to be a great tool to clean these chains. Once I run it for a while, then I'll oil the chains up and put them in a Ziploc bag ready to install. That's too hot to handle with your hands. I ran that in there for about 15 minutes. And there's a little oily residue left that's still blowing out of the links, but it's pretty clean. I'm going to dunk this in some oil before I store it away until I'm ready for it. I'm going to mark this left hand front and put it on the shelf to be ready to install. So I'm going to take these bolts and just throw them in this bag, and they're night and day. My hands aren't getting all full of grease loading them up. I'm actually pretty impressed. Now, I was going to reuse this and put it in a container, but I think with as gross as that all was and the way that fluid looks, I'm just going to dump it. It does come with this. You have to install the plastic nipple and the hose, but everything else, the valve comes with it. So I'm going to go ahead and scoot this towards the edge and drain this off into this bucket. Well, guys, I think the million-dollar question here is, what do I think about this thing? And to be honest, I'm not, like I said, I'm not getting anything out of this other than they sent me this unit. I'm pretty impressed with how well it cleans. It's not too loud. I can still be in the shop. It doesn't bother me. It gets the water plenty hot, and I think that's the big part of why it works so well. You know, as far as criticisms, there's not a whole lot. I mean, the lid could be a tad thicker, but I don't think it's going to cause any problems. And maybe the basket, but I had quite a bit of weight in here. It only bowed a little bit, but it didn't permanently deform it. You know, the controls are pretty easy to use. I guess if I did have my biggest criticism would be Fahrenheit on here, but it's not going to affect this operation. But really, I'm pretty happy with the way it worked. Would I buy it with my own money? After using it, I think I would, especially with the projects I got going on in the shop, all the bolts and just the grimy stuff. It saves me having to get the parts washer out and do each one separately, so I think that would really speed things up. From my limited use in using this, I think if you minimize the stacking of your parts, just kind of have one layer, it works best. And you know, that's really the only thing I really noticed, but I don't think it's the fault of this particular machine or brand. But as far as the value, I mean, I think it's under $175. I think $150, $160, somewhere in there. And for us home shop guys, we're not going to spend thousands of dollars on something we can do with another method like a parts washer. So I think the price fits the bill for what it is. Longevity wise, I can't tell you how long the electronics are going to last or anything like that, but it does look like if you register it online, they support it for 1 year. I've never purchased anything from Vevor before, so I don't know how well their customer support is. But if you have any experience with them, put them in the comments below. Before you go, let me show you one thing. I am real close to being able to put some primer on this area. I still have a lot of work to do over there, but as far as the body work goes, there's no thick coats of Bondo, so it's all just real skim coats of the small scratches and stuff, and I just spent a little bit of time. I got one area to sand out yet, but other than that, I'm pretty much done with it. So I just wanted to give you a quick update on where we're at. But anyway, guys, we'll see you next time. I appreciate you watching. Take care.